Nothing has risen in self-storage operations faster than property taxes. Maybe online marketing, but online marketing and property taxes are the two line items that tend to increase the most. And believe me, property taxes is usually a lot bigger number than the online marketing number. So let's talk about what we can do about self-storage property taxes today. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Quick Start Academy, which houses the on-demand self-storage boot camp. That's the premier training I offer that will take you from wherever you are right now all the way to putting your first facility into service. You can find out more about it at creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com. I'm convinced that when the property valuation people who do the property taxes and do the assessments have their conventions and there's speakers up on the stage talking, much like our storage conventions, one of the subjects they're talking about is self-storage. Now, seriously though, there is not a property that we own that within a 5-year period hasn't been hit multiple times with increased assessment on property taxes. So let's talk about what to do. Now, there's a lot of people who are smarter about what goes on in assessments, property assessments, than I am. But I will tell you what our standard procedure is and what we do every time that we get hit with an increased assessment on our storage facilities. There's very few things I do well in life. Just kind of ask my wife that. And fighting tax assessments at all the different municipalities that we've been involved in is certainly not one of them that I'm going to do very well. So what we do is we hire someone. Standard procedure. Every time we get a tax assessment, we hire someone to look at it. Who do we hire? Well, there are people who that is their job. That's all they do is help companies, particularly real estate owners, challenge tax assessments and get them reduced. And how do you find them? Well, one thing that we do is we Google in our different markets property tax consultants. So if I'm in Houston, Texas, we Googled property tax consultants, Houston, Texas. We actually found a very good company that does most of the state of Texas, and we were able to do multiple projects with this person. But there are people, that's all they do. And what do? We interview them. And we see who we think we can work well with and who's had experience with self-storage. Now, if someone hasn't had experience with self-storage, that's not necessarily a deal killer for us, but we would prefer to have someone who's had a little bit of experience with self-storage, who knows the nuances of it, because self-storage is a much different animal than a hotel. Now, what will happen is they will usually ask for a bunch of documents from us, like P&Ls and balance sheets, and if it's new construction or we've just done an expansion, to send, what we spent on that and what our budget is. And I send them our occupancy history and our, what we've done with the project. And I send a whole bunch of stuff to them, plus a copy of the increase assessment letter we got. And these professionals, they'll look at it and they will tell me if they think they can get it reduced, and two, what they think they can get it reduced to. Now, I especially like working with these professionals because in most, at least with us, every case that we work with, we don't pay a fee to have them go fight it. Usually what happens is a percentage of the tax savings in year one will be their fee. So let's say that one of these consultants was successful at reducing our assessment such that our overall tax liability went down $15,000. Their fee would be $7,500 one-time fee. Now, sometimes these assessors may ask for a little bit of that money up front, and I always make sure it's credited. I've never paid more than $1,000 or $1,500, I think, and it is credited to what their final fee will be. The other thing I like about it is, if they don't think they can reduce your taxes, they're going to tell you, because they don't want to waste their time on deals where they don't feel they're going to be successful at getting a tax reduction. And that's happened many times. Usually 2 out of 3 times we send it to one of these tax consultants, they feel they can reduce the taxes, but every now and then they'll come back and say, this is a fair assessment. Based on everything I'm seeing, this is a fair assessment. Don't go fight it, because you probably aren't going to win anything, and it could be higher. And in those cases, we just pay the increased tax assessment. But I really like working with these professionals, because these are one of the few professionals I deal with on a daily basis that their fee is performance driven. And I like living in a world where fees are performance driven. Now, sometimes these reductions have been quite dramatic. I'll give you a case example of one. In a market, we actually hired a guy as a tax reduction consultant who had worked for the PVA, the Property Value Administration, and then went out and did real estate, but he also did tax consulting. And he knew the inner workings, he knew the personalities. That's another reason why I try to get local, if possible, local tax consultants, because they know the people involved, they've dealt with them before, they know what certain personalities are looking for in the PVA, in whatever market it's in. And this guy knew that. And we had a property that was assessed at $2.5 million. We paid more for it, but that was his assessment. And the assessment jumped all the way up to $5.5 million. That was like a $45,000 property tax increase hit we were going to get. So I sent everything to this consultant. He said, I'm pretty sure I can get it reduced. And he went in and got it reduced down to $3 million. And we were thrilled when we got that letter from the PVA. Now, because he'd done such a good job, I didn't even know this was possible, but the PVA appealed their own decision. I didn't know you could do that, but they did it. They appealed their own decision and banged it back up to $5.5 million. And what we ended up doing was just negotiating directly with the head property valuation administrator. We brought our tax consultant in, and it was just literally a negotiation. And we ended up getting it to $3.5 million tax assessment. So instead of a $45,000 tax increase per year, we were able to keep it down to about a 13.5 kind of number on a tax increase per year. And we were happy to pay that $6,700. We even bonused the guy. We were thrilled to get that assessment. Now, every tax appeal is not that successful, but the majority of tax appeals, we do get a reduction. In fact, we've never done a tax appeal where we didn't get a reduction. There's a number of times where we decided not to do a tax appeal, but if we've done a tax appeal, we usually get the reduction. Now, in my opinion, there's very few win-wins in life. Tax appealing's one of them. I want to support the markets I'm in. but I also want to support myself and my investors. So as a standard procedure, we have a tax consultant review every tax appeal, every increased assessment we get. They advise us if it's possible to reduce that assessment any to impact what we're paying in property taxes. If it is, we turn them loose to go for it. Now, the real art of this is usually you get a very short window between the time that you get your increase assessment and when you can apply for an appeal. So you've got to move quick. It's good. Very often we have these people already lined up. When I close a deal within a couple months, we try to locate, because we know usually within a year we're going to get in most markets, an increased assessment. So I try to locate who we're going to use ahead of time. Believe me, I've missed windows because the windows are so short, and then you got to wait you got to pay that increased assessment. You got to wait a whole nother year before you can appeal it. Don't do what I've done in the past. Be prepared for it. Anticipate that you're going to be getting an increased assessment and have a plan in place on how you're going to deal with it. You do that, you'll help your bottom line in this fantastic business of self-storage. Best business there is for small investors. Thank you very much. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage. I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer, which is the financial analysis tool we use. We plug in property tax increases, but it's the financial analysis tool that we use as we're analyzing and looking at projects that we're considering buying or putting into service. If you're using Excel, great. I invite you to really look at the Storage World Analyzer. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to being with you next week.